guys, welcome back out in the garage. It's been a little while since I made a video. I actually got sick for a few days and then still working on other engine builds. But I wanted to throw something in, just do a short video about a cylinder head. Okay, this is the 4V351 Cleveland cylinder head right here. Kind of got myself in a little challenge, but not a challenge against somebody, but against myself, more or less. A couple of weeks ago, there was on one of the forums, there was a post about being able to take one of these stock iron 4V heads and actually get it to flow 450 CFM. And what brought that up was this book here, this Off-Highway Parts. It's a Ford book, and in this book it states, if I can get it to open with my gloves on, intake will flow excess of 450 CFM and the exhaust 300 CFM, okay? And as well with the Boss 302 cylinder head. So this was posted, that little picture of that part right there was posted on that post. So there was a lot of comments, people going back and forth, impossible, can't be done. Some people say they may think it might be done because there have been past head porters and engine builders from back in even the Pro Stock days and everything, the early days of Pro Stock, I should say, claiming they've done it, okay? So I always felt that I can get close to that, okay? But I'm not gonna spend time doing this like in a big rush. I still have lots going on here. But I did go to that post on that forum, except they canceled the comments. You can't comment on it. But I read a whole bunch. So I reposted, or I should say I didn't repost because that wasn't my post. So I posted that I wanted to go ahead and try to see if this could be done, if I can even do it. I'm not a professional head porter. I've ported lots of different heads from small engine to large engines, you know what I mean? From, motorcycles to big inch V8s and stuff like that. Different makes and models, and import and domestic. I've done lots over the 40 years of messing with cylinder heads, and I've been running this flow bench for over 30 years now, okay? So, I'm gonna take this cylinder head, which I'm going to use probably, one of these ports. This one you can see is gigantic. This one here is something I started about 5 years ago. I was messing with. Me and a friend of mine were just wondering if we can get 400 out of one of these heads. Then I was just tinkering throughout time or whatever, and actually got 421 out of this here. But it's just godly big. I mean, you would have to have do some special work to your intake manifold. You'd have to have a gasket made. This was a little bit overkill on the outside here. So I want to be able to keep this more realistic as far as bolting up an intake and getting more of a gasket to seal, let's say, and get that, that 450 if we can do it. This here is 421. And I have a lot of work done to it, like saying the bowl is just huge in there, okay? And I think I can probably even get another 30 CFM to make that 450, but that wouldn't be feasible because who's gonna want that big old port like that? And to run it the way this is, there's probably not much airspeed or nothing, so you would need a huge cubic inch mill for one thing, and a lot of RPM, or just a whole bunch of RPM period, or both, you know what I'm saying? So I want to redo this whole idea and and trying to make it more feasible where you can bolt stuff to it and it's more realistic. But I don't know if I can show in there. But this thing here, yeah, okay, and it's very huge. All right, so you can see there's some spots where I broke through the top underneath the valve cover there, and when I floated, I had to patch those up a little bit. So anyway, my deal here is scratch that because I don't want to use this. Use one of these here. I'm going to go ahead and just hit the seat of a 45, grind the valve of a 45. Just start as if it's just OEM, okay? And then this book kind of tells you, there's a couple pages in here on the Boss 302 section, kind of like some of the stuff they did to get more out of it. I don't know if that's enough without trying it to get 450. I mean, I think there's going to be more involved, but what they show is going to be a big improvement, okay? So, excuse me. So anyway, in between what I got going on in the garage, I'm going to flow this, one of these ports, here on camera, stock form, and we'll see what it is. And then each time I do a little bit, I'm going to reflow it, and we're going to see if it's the improvements or if I went backwards. Okay, so kind of like what I was doing on that E7 head on my last YouTube before I lost that YouTube channel. Same kind of deal. I was trying to do it. Excuse me, man. I had a bad cough for about a week. Hold on a minute. Let me get a drink of water here. Okay, so anyway, I may show what I'm doing, and then we're going to reflow it. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about flowing low lift and all that stuff, because the whole deal on this post was 450 CFM. It can't be done, or can it be done, period. So I'll probably flow it at 700. These heads usually at 700 in stock form. I've seen them anywhere from high 280s, depending on casting and valve job, to near 300, okay? In stock form. So I'm gonna start at 700, work at it, see what we can get at 700 until we get to that point to where I may have to start going to 725 or 750, then 775, 800. I would like to get it before 800, okay? But I don't know. My transfer port head, some of you may remember my transfer port, I can't even speak, transfer port head, cylinder heads that I have. They are iron Cleveland heads. They flow 386, okay, on the intake and 248 to 252-ish on the exhaust side, and they're non-raised ports, okay, as far as the exhaust side. They haven't been machined and had plates put on them like you see me do that. Their standard location. They're 248, okay, on the exhaust, and the book says they can get up to 300, and they're 386 on the intake. And so I could dig those out and maybe work those, but I'm kind of wanting to put those on my personal build that I'm doing for the 69. I may use those, so I don't want to spend all that time. There's no way. It's going to take a long time to do one port. You have to stay on it. I don't have time to do it an all-day thing every day, just to do this. So I'm going to be doing it in between. I'll just hit a few spots, and we'll just keep doing it like that. So this may take us a while. So you have to keep coming back and watching the videos to see what's going on, or at least hit the channel and see if I've done any more to it, because I got to stay on top of this other work. But knowing what I did here, I already know what I've done, which is going to help me because I can get a pretty good head start. I already know where I can actually start hitting to get to get a good start, okay? But again, we don't want this to be this dramatic. We want it to be a little more feasible looking, you know, with gasket and not having to get some crazy intake deal going on. So, and as always, when you're porting, again, head porters do it all differently. They start in different areas. If this was a head, man. If this was a cylinder head that I was porting the whole set, you know, the set, intake and exhaust, I'd be starting on the exhaust because I always start on the, not really the hardest, but the exhaust is more tedious because it's small, so it's, you know, you got to work a little more at it because you got a small space. And since we're just going to do one port, I'm going to start most likely in the guide area. Okay, I would like to get some of that guide area out of the way up in there first before I even start. This is easy out here. I mean, it's big, so you got lots of room to go in there and do what you want. So, anyway, that was that, and I just kind of want to bring that up. And so, I have, like you can see, I have been sick for a few days, unfortunately, and so I'm behind again on some of the stuff I was doing. Now, when I get out here, it's been real cold, but it's cold probably in a lot of places, not just here. But so I'm gonna just kind of do this in between what I got going on. So anyway, if you have any comments about that or anything that you might suggest or whatever. So we'll just see. And maybe I'm not the guy that can do it. There may be a guy that might say, oh no, I've done it already, you know. But I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this for two reasons. Number one, I'm just that way. And number two, I had about actually four guys get a hold of me when that post came out before I ever got to read the post. So when I went to read the post, it was already turned off on the comments, but I could read everything. And they had hit me up because they know I like doing iron cylinder heads. There's not a lot of head porters left that will still port on iron stuff. They recommend you buy aluminum, you know what I'm saying, or they'd rather port aluminum. But anyway, so since I'm an iron guy, and that's all I like, I thought, okay, it's like saying, so I got hit up a few times, and you know, that's what got the ball rolling or whatever. And then I didn't have this book, but a gentleman sent it to me so I can see what they did in here. So that was cool. And anyway, so that's that. I don't want to keep talking because I'll keep coughing and whatever. So as always, you guys stay safe out there. Stay well, even though I didn't quite stay well. And stay tuned for this. And like I said, I'll go ahead and set it up and go ahead and flow that one hole right to get off, start with, and see what that is, okay, what CFM that is. And then, okay, anyway, talk to you guys a little bit later. Thanks.